guys, and welcome to Bomb Anime.
It's your girl, Ruka.
And Big Boy Summer here, bringing you a hot or not on the Genius Prince's Guide to Racing a Country Out of Debt.
Creativity. The country is basically at the bottom of the pile. There's no trade that's worth it. It's very small. The terrain is bad. They're very broke. And the prince basically wants to raise the country's value a little bit so that he can sell it off because it's just not worth the trouble of continuously running this country. So in terms of creativity, I would say that's pretty creative. A lot of animes aren't necessarily about that kind of subject, although it does have some elements that it shares with a lot of other anime.
Yeah, in terms of creativity, having a character so blatant about the fact that they want to do something that might be seen as treasonous just so that they can have a good retirement plan is not normal. I mean, there are a few animes with that sort of vein or like, but it's actually quite cool to hear it from this perspective and hear his thought processes on what he's going through to achieve this goal.
Entertainment. So I thought it was funny the way, even though everything is going perfectly, Wayne's still really depressed about it. Like, I get that he just wants to raise the value a little bit and he's at odds with the rest of the populace because they just don't think the way that he does. He should at least take his wins as well, like, you know, just go with it. Also, the way that they animated the battle. Now, they didn't show us actually very much fighting, but they animated the whole fight a lot because they made it more of a fight between the two leaders and their thought processes, which I thought was a fresher way to do it. Like, if you're gonna miss out a lot of the battling element, I thought this was a good way of replacing that.
Yeah, I mean, Rick is correct. I mean, it was like a game of chess where the two opposing sides were facing each other, but one of them wanted to lose and the other one was trying to win. And it became a comedy of errors, but in the opposite, where not everything went wrong, everything went right, and that was what was wrong. It was actually quite cool to see that kind of stuff. I really found the relationship between Ninim and Prince Wayne to be actually quite cute and quite nice and wholesome in a weird way. Like, you can tell they care a lot for each other, and I'm kind of looking forward to see what the rest of the anime brings in that light as well.
Character development. Wayne is sort of before his time. His countrymen are quite simple and dealing with their lack of resources, which causes Wayne a lot of issues. Basically, the society appears as if they have only sort of become quote unquote civilized, in the fact that they're just sort of starting out, and it seems like the country that's next to them is in the same sort of position where they don't have many resources. They're trying to build up their respective country, so they're just not quite there yet. Wayne obviously has, I guess, privilege, but not really because they're all broke, but he's more well off than the rest of the people. He's had more of a privilege to sort of learn things, think about different things that other people don't necessarily get to do. So the thought processes are just not on the same level, which I thought was a really great exploration. Although it's kind of tongue-in-cheek the way that they've done it, it's still handled it in a really good way, and it makes me like Wayne's character even more because although he's saying he just wants to raise the value and kind of like bugger off, he's still doing a lot for his country at the same time. And I did really like Nin's character as well. I did not know that she was gonna have it in her being like a vassal princess, not even giving an F, chopping off my man's head and saying make sure his last words don't ever see the light of day. I thought that was sick. But then she's also really soft when she's around Wayne. I thought their relationship was really cute too, Big Boy Summer.
In terms of characterization, I do want to focus on Wayne as well. They have made a very intelligent character, and they have brought it to us in a way that is easily digestible, and you can actually see the reasons why he is doing what he's doing. Like, the thought processes that he has shows that he has all the information necessary. For example, when he spoke to the army before they went into battle, he cut the tension knowing full well who his troops were. That kind of level of attention to detail doesn't come quite easily, which is just one example of his intelligence. Another example is the fact that he thought that because his plan to take over the gold mine will be so outlandish and so hard to reach, that they would realize this and not go for it. But just like Ruka said, they're all on total different wavelengths. And so therefore they were like, yep, this smart guy had said we can do it, let's go for it. And again, it turns out that he was correct, just not in the way he wanted to be. So again, like it's very good to see how intelligent the character of Wayne actually is. And Ninim as well. She is shrewd enough to know when to be hard and when to be soft in it. She is hard in battle, but she knows that the only way she's going to handle the prince is if she kind of kowtows to his eccentricities, I guess. Wayne's persona that he's putting through while putting his prince hat on is actually totally amazing. It's like he turns into Batman. He's saying all the right things, he's doing all the right things, and unfortunately for him, the right things are panning out, isn't it? So yeah, I really like the characterization between them two. Then you've also got the actual military generals and soldiers who actually do care about their country and do want to succeed and know that it's best to listen to someone who knows a little bit more than them and give their opinion. So it's nice to see this dynamic going on.
World building. I feel like most of the world building comes through the characters. The town itself is just any sort of, medieval type town, but the actual world building comes through all of the characters. Just like Big Boy Sama was saying with Wayne knowing the soldiers' names, although he's saying he just wants to sell off his country and he doesn't really care, all of his actions are showing that he really does actually love his country. He wouldn't just learn 10,000 soldiers' names like that, names with faces, actually. In armor, like they had helmets on, it's even harder to sort of see the whole face. He clearly seriously cares about them. Also, I feel like you can tell that the royalty itself has done an amazing job because they have so much love from the rest of the people, even though they're in such a terrible situation. They are all crammed together because they don't have really any space. They're in the mountains, they're extremely poor, and yet the people are still extremely supportive of the royal family. This would be their perfect opportunity to get rid of them because the king is sick. Get rid of them and put someone else in power. So you can tell that the royals have done something right here in such terrible circumstances. And everyone really believes in Wayne as well, even though he's like young. Instead of the advisors sort of trying to take over because they want power, they're letting him do his own thing because they completely trust and support. Also, I really like the way they've shown us all of the maps of the terrain of the country and the neighboring countries, and they're bringing sort of that kind of element into it as well. I like hearing about the behind the scenes things, which I don't think you necessarily will always hear about in animes because it's not really the focal point and you can get away with it. But I appreciate the added info.
Yeah, in terms of world building for me, just like Rika said, the map itself is amazing. The fact that you can see, it's like watching Black Clover where you've got the different kingdoms all around, so you can actually see the interaction between it.
Yeah.
Also, because they showed you the visual representation of the map and the neighboring countries and kingdoms, you can actually understand why, for example, Mata's kingdom decided to come into Natra. You can get it. You might not agree with it, but it made sense. So I like the fact that they kept the intellectual consistency there. And in terms of world building as well, I feel like this is set out in a situational sort of world as opposed to a geographic sort of world. Even though they've given us the geographic representation, everything is situational. This fight would have never happened if, for example, the king wasn't ill. This fight would have never happened if the other king was a good king. That kind of situation. So they've given you the bunch of situations that are all intellectually consistent in order for you to understand that the story has legs and is carrying on.
Plot execution. So really, I feel like Wayne told us at the beginning what it was. He is trying to raise the value of his country so that he can sell it off and have like a relaxing life. But like I said when we was doing our anime coming out this season, it reminds me of Trash of the Count's Family, where the protagonist in that kept saying, oh, all I want to do is slack off, and yet he works the hardest for his country and is just always doing the most. So I really do feel like it's going to follow similarities in that way. He's saying that, but clearly all the things that he's doing is showing the opposite. Even when you go as far as saying that he implemented things into their army so that they would be way stronger and they would learn techniques of like the strongest military force, he didn't need to do that. It wasn't something that he needed to concern himself about if he really couldn't be asked.
Yeah, in terms of plot as well, yeah, like Ruki said, we were given what he wants to do from the get-go. This episode also had the plot of the war. Also, she said it reminded her of Trash of the Count's Family. It reminded me of Dungeon in the Black Company, where all he wanted to do was live his life and do sod all and get paid and get rich. So I like that kind of element in anime. I like that kind of thing, and I do like the way that they're using it here, and nothing's hidden in that sense. You know what's going on and you know what the aim is.
So the verdict. So creativity, hot or not?
So for me, creativity is a hot for me. I like it. Yes, I've seen some anime that are similar, but nothing on this sort of scale. And maybe that's either because my anime knowledge is not as big, or maybe I've just not seen them. But either way, I think it's creative, so I'm giving it a massive hot for this one.
It's hot for me. I also really liked the creative element. I've read light novels similar to this concept, but I still feel like it gave me enough to be really enjoying it. Entertainment.
Definitely entertained. The 24 minutes flew by, and I definitely could watch a lot more of this. Can't wait to binge this one. Definitely entertained.
It's a hot. I thought it was funny at times. It was interesting, the story in general, and I feel like I'm going to enjoy the rest of the anime in terms of its entertainment value. It did go really fast as well. They find different ways to act out different things, like I was saying, with like the war itself. I enjoyed it. Character development.
It's a hot for me as well. There weren't too many characters for you not to get invested in all of them. Even the bad guy's character was given, like, you knew exactly what he was. His aim was to crush the opponent. He looked down on his opponents. He fought as if his opponents were trash, and he got his ass handed to him. And that's just one element of the characterization. Trust me, if you really want to watch this, feel free. You'd love it. It's a hot for me.
It's also a hot from me. Even the side characters, the 4 men who were his council, even they were like pretty on point with their characterization, although I would say it's more like a group character rather than true individuals, except for the one that was on the horse at the beginning of the fight, and of course our 2 main lovebirds as well. I liked their characters. World building, hot or not?
Now, world building is a tough one for me, because like there's loads of reasons for and loads of reasons against, but because they went the situational route, I'm going to give it a hot. I think that they've decided that yes, it's a generic medieval sort of style place, however you're not invested in that, and to be true to the story, they gave you the situation with the roots as to why the situation, and that's why it gets a hot for me.
It's a hot because although they've built their world through the characters, the people's general thoughts and the actions that are happening, rather than sort of building on more aesthetic things, I guess. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great way to do it. Plot execution, hot or not?
Now, I'm very picky when it comes to plot execution. I believe you need to give me a plot for the episode and an overarching plot, and this one did both. It gave me the overarching plot, which is to sell the kingdom, and it gave me a fight, well, a war, battle, whatever, during the episode as the plot because of invasion. And I even like the way that they use a little system to come in and give us that sort of exposition. So yes, definitely a hot for me.
For fear of repeating myself, it's a hot. I actually thought that the plot was quite nice. It was fun. I enjoyed the plot of the episode, which again was the war, the invasion, and also this overarching theme that I think I know sort of where it's going based on things I've read. I liked it. I really liked watching it. It was fun. It was interesting. Light-hearted, not too serious. So, for the first time in such a long time, both of us have actually gone for 5 out of 5 hots. For a light-hearted anime that doesn't take itself too seriously and just wants to have a laugh with its audience. Leave it in the comments about what you thought of this episode.
Don't forget to like, subscribe and share.
Peace.